guys, how's it going today? So today I just want to talk about a topic that I feel I just see a lot and I think can really be applied to your life. And it's just, well, if you've read the video title, you probably already know what it is, but it's just, don't be afraid to try things in life, right? Don't be afraid to take like some risks. I know you hear this all the time, but it's just three specific things I just wanted to talk about. So we'll just go ahead and get into those. The first one I want to talk about is like romantically, right? Don't be afraid to try romantically, because a lot of the time, like, you see it all the time, especially like when as you get like older, I would say, I think it becomes a lot more common, is you see a lot of romantic regrets where people are like, I guess they're reaching that point in their life, they're like, oh man, I wish I took this more seriously. Like, one of the things I would always see like these old heads say, like, oh man, I wish I was a great girl I had back then. I wish I didn't waste. I wish I wasn't messing around, nothing like that. And then I'll hear it on the other side of the spectrum where it's like, people will talk about, man, I wish I talked to that girl, bro. She was so bad, man. I wish I talked to her. I wish I walked up to her. She's so fine. Like, it's like you hear it all the time, right? Both sides of the spectrum. But the one I really want to talk about is when it's like, people will be like, oh, they like this girl. They're scared to talk to her. They don't know what's gonna happen. They're just afraid, right? With that one, man, let's keep it a stack, bro. Just go ahead and like, if you want to try, this is gonna sound kind of mean, but you gotta be honest with yourself and prepare yourself for failure. I'm gonna be honest with you, but you also need to realize that failure is not the end of the world. And the only time you could ever realize that failure is not the end of the world is you kind of have to fail. And then realize like, oh, okay, that really was not that bad. But then there's also the inverse of this, where if it goes really bad, it makes it even harder to come back from that. But that's the thing about risk. At the end of the day, you can never remove that. That's a fact of life, right? And that's just the reality, is no matter what you do, there's going to be some type of risk of it going horribly wrong, right? I think that's like Murphy's Law or something like that. I remember that was a TV show, man. That's funny. But the show was Milo's Law. Oh, why did that show never blow up? That was supposed to be like the next like Phineas and Ferb, but it was not cooking. Anywho, let's get into it. So yeah, like, honestly, bro, like, you gotta really be expecting and be okay with a failure. And I'm telling you, you gotta be ready for a bad failure as well too. But don't be afraid to go talk to this girl, bro, because it's like, honestly, man, the worst could happen. It could be pretty bad, not gonna lie. But if you gotta also be real. If this is the type of person who would do you that bad in the first place, this is not somebody that you want. But here's the thing, bro. A lot of you guys need to hear this. Stop being so weird about this stuff, right? Like, learn to take a rejection. And you gotta understand, rejection is not just a straight up no a lot of the time. Rejection is you asking them out and they busy every single time. That's a rejection, bro. Y'all need to know when it's time to stop and just to quit it. But that's something you can only learn through failure as well too, to be honest. Because sometimes people are legitimately just busy, but they legitimately do want to see you. But you can kind of tell by the amount of effort that somebody like puts in, because this isn't even like a gender thing, right? It's not really like, oh, women won't tell you straight, but there's people in general will not tell you straight that they do not like you. They'll just kind of make it obvious by how they treat you. And you got to be aware of how somebody is treating you. You know what they say, like, if you weren't invited, don't ask to go. Say it with me. If you weren't invited, don't ask to go. I'm assuming that you guys said it too. Yeah, so that's kind of just what I wanted to say about that one. Don't be afraid to try. Be expecting failure. Accept the reality of what it is, but, just be yourself and find somebody who genuinely likes you, bro. This is another big one, because you see that guy in that Yu-Gi-Oh divorce video, bro? He loved Yu-Gi-Oh, and she kind of tolerated him, and then eventually it was cooked. Sad story. But the next one I wanted to talk about was just starting a new hobby, right? Starting something new that you're interested in, whether it be coding, martial arts, YouTube, rock climbing, weightlifting, losing weight. Losing weight's not really a hobby, but that's just something else. All these things, right? They all have the same thing in common, where you just have to start. You can research it, But eventually, you just have to start and get in there, man. Because some people spend so much time with this analysis paralysis, and I know because I'm not even used to. I still feel this today, man. It's hard. Where like you look at stuff and you'll be like, oh man, I don't want to do this the wrong way. I don't want to go about this the wrong way. I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's hard. It's very hard. But it's good. It's good because it's hard. You know, it's like Big Sean said, you know, what's hard in life that isn't worth having? It's something along those lines. I don't remember the exact quote, but you know, but Big Sean has some bangers. A lot of people be hating on Big Sean, but he has some straight bangers, man. But anywho, it's like sometimes you gotta make up the universe and plan it out. That was fire. Anywho, moving back to the topic, right? What was I even talking about? My bad. Okay, let's get into it. Yeah, so as I was saying, right? Like all those hobbies, you know, don't get stuck in the phase of like looking up the information before actually starting it, right? You're analyzing it too deeply, man. At a certain point, you just gotta start. Now, I'm not saying that means don't do any research, because some of these, like, especially, like, for example, martial arts places, MMA gyms, some of them will just be trying to rob you and scam you, and even, like, potentially get you injured. So research those, and if it doesn't feel right, you don't have to do it. But I would still say you should try. Because, you know, if you want to win the race, right, you have to run. You're not going to win the race if you run it on the sideline. Even if the cameraman is on the sideline and he beats every single racer, he don't win. You know why? Because he didn't run the race. You could be the fastest person in the world, but if you don't compete, nobody, like, what does it matter? It's just there in its own bubble. If you want to be a coder, if you want to get a job as a programmer, right? Okay, start programming. But then after that, you know what you gotta do? You gotta start applying. The job market is atrocious. But if that's what you want to do, eventually you gotta get in there, right? Everything you want in life, right? It starts with first off starting it, and that's just the reality of it. And it's just like, especially like YouTube as well too, right? Some people are scared. They don't want to do this. They don't want to talk like this. They don't want to talk like that. I mean, it's all right, honestly. Like it's okay to want your product, your brand, your service to be great. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't focus on making it perfect, because nothing will ever be perfect in this life. You will never be perfect. The product, the service will never be perfect. Nothing in this life is ever perfect, right? But it's like, that's the value of it though, right? That means you can always continue to improve it, because if you could reach that perfection, what's the point? What is like that guy Mayuri from Bleach? Perfection is boring. What happens when you reach perfection is you're done. But the fact that you can constantly improve is what makes life interesting, right? So let's not forget that. So any hobbies that you guys are interested, go out there, find some place, start it. Start today. Don't wait till tomorrow, because you're gonna become the person saying, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow." Start it today. Matter of fact, start it right now. If you need to, close this video out and go start it. Make sure you like and subscribe though before you do that. But anywho, and then just to get to like the last example that I kind of wanted to talk about, which is just like regretting the things that you did and things that you didn't do, right? It's because I hear a lot of people say, actually I remember reading this from, when I first heard this was from Doctor Who, or something kind of similar to this, where I won't talk too much about the scene. Those spoilers. Used to love that show, not anymore. But what happens, right, is there's like a scene where the woman is saying like, "Oh, I wish I had more time for regrets in life," or something along those lines, right? And that made me realize, it's like, what you gotta think the life that you would rather lead, right? Would you rather lead the life with regrets, or the life? My bad. You gotta live the life where you regret the things you did, or regret the things that you didn't do. Which life would you prefer? And at the end of the day, I'm not saying that you should live a life, you know, just doing anything, doing everything. No, that's insanity, right? I'm not telling you to go do no black tar. I'm not telling you to go out here start snorting something. All right, we're not saying any of that, okay? Obviously within moderation, right? But don't live the life where it's like you're sitting here regretting, "Oh, I wish I did this, I wish I did that," right? And a lot of that kind of builds off of the first two. That's why I wanted to go over this one last. Because there's so many people who I see in their old age. It's like, this is the wisdom that really like touches me. Where like old people will be like, I wish I did this, man. I wish I did that. They'll be at a point in their life where they're not satisfied. And I know a lot of people probably are satisfied with their lives, but still, the vocal ones are usually the ones who aren't happy. That's kind of how it goes. But I also feel like it's too common. And I think a lot of the time, like, we are in this instant gratification, like, mindset, like, oh yeah, we want this now, we want that now. There's nothing wrong with taking some time to get where you want to be. Because in the reality of it, that time is going to save you a lot more time down the line, right? I remember one of the things I used to always be told was, if you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over? I think you can apply that to life, right? If you don't have the time to do it right, you know, take passion in what you're doing, because you might not have that opportunity to do it again. The reality of everything, even what I'm saying now, is that sometimes in life you don't get a second chance. Sometimes you don't get that opportunity. Sometimes you have to give up and make sacrifices for the things that you genuinely want to get the things that you need. And that's hard, but that's life at the end of the day. And yeah, so that kind of brings my whole video right back to the beginning, right back to the right back together. Yeah, I just want to talk about this because this is something I just see all the time. People are just so afraid to try. And like, the hardest thing to do is to try, so I get it. But like, guys, everybody's amazing. Everybody's wonderful. You all have something, you know, to bring to the table, as they say. Don't be saying that I am the table. It's nonsense. But you all have something to bring there. I just want to thank you guys all for watching this video. Let me know what else you guys would like me to talk about, because, you know, I might just start having yap sessions or something like that. But yeah, appreciate you guys all for watching and making this far. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. And go find that hobby. Go find that girl, that guy. Go do whatever you need to do, right? Because if you have the choice today to make a change in life, you know, as Polo G once said, everything could change depending on what you do today. All right. Thank you guys. Bye. I'll see you.